favorite moment?
It's either the tax thing, because it really, quote unquote, it sticks with you.
Oh, brother.
Or it's the box cutter part. Because both of those things I can imagine hurting myself with.
Yeah. I don't remember the tax, but a minute before it came up, I think you just went, the tax. And you had a glazed look in your eyes.
So
you had a 1,000-yard stare, and you remembered the tax.
Full disclosure, our tools area in our garage is slightly a mess. And there's a box out there that has, I don't know, random crap in it, zip ties, and there are tacks in there. And occasionally I need the tacks for something, and it's always one of those things where I have to mentally prepare myself to stick my hand in the box with the tacks, knowing they could poke me. I should organize them, but I haven't.
You're just a glutton for punishment. You like it. It makes you feel alive. It makes you remember this
movie.
The
tacks are out there.
Yeah, and oh gosh, that's brutal. You know what mine is?
What?
When Joey T has a box cutter shoved through his cheek.
Oh, yeah.
And he breaks it off.
With his teeth.
With his teeth in his mouth.
Oh, well, the blade is still sticking out. He just breaks the actual, the thing that holds the box cutter.
Man, I'm feeling kind of barfy. He bites it off, pulls out the blade, and then the two of them just start slashing each other with box cutters.
Oh, yeah. So that is some great blood work right now there.
Oh,
it just gets super bloody at that point because they're just slashing at arms and wrists, and blood is flying onto the floor and onto their bodies, and just, it's everywhere.
You know, a lot of people like to, they're joking about the blood industry, but in that fight, just keeping the continuity of it. Mm-hmm. They had to shoot in order, but just remembering where the blood was and from take to take. That's nuts. Mm-hmm. They had to do a lot of continuity photos on that. I would not like to work on that.
That was a squishy scene.
And then he almost gets scalped. So Iko almost gets scalped by a razor blade, by a saw that's on a table that cuts wood in half.
Yeah, that scene is really brutal to me because it feels so personal that he would let this. I know they're battling and they've been following each other all over the city doing this, but to push your friend or former friend or rival's head into a table saw just feels... Man, imagine if he really went through it with that and Iko's head, or Ito, is just...
Or Arian.
Busted. Arian's head is busted in half and blood and guts and brains. That would be... Whoa.
Yeah, because at first they're just kicking each other and a couple stabs.
I mean, that is next level brutality.
He literally tries to kill him, not just kick him.
Yeah.
And then he gets stabbed in the gut with a... So Iko Uwais stabs Taslim, Joey T, in the gut with a screwdriver.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is before they start box cuttering each other.
And that's before they fight with the pipes. And then they bust through the chain link fence and they fall on the pipes.
That's when the lower back work.
Oh, and this is the same time as the tax. Because Iko has his hand behind his head. He's reaching for anything he can find. Joe is smart enough to move everything out of the way, but he misses the jar. And then I love when Iko looks down and he sees all the tacks. They're in both of his hands. And you can imagine, just think of the last time you stabbed yourself with something. They're all in his hands, both of them. And they're stuck into his jacket in his arm. And he starts plucking them out.
It's amazing.
Ugh.
And then, all right, so then he gets stabbed in the gut with a screwdriver. And then it ends with the two of them. Basically, they give up on defense. And they are just stabbing each other in the shoulders, and in the mouth, and in the chest. And then eventually, Joey T loses his box cutter, and he stabs Arian in the throat with a piece of wood.
So, yeah, it's a fragment of wood, but it's got a nail sticking out of it.
Of course.
So he grabs it almost like you would with a corkscrew for a wine opener, and he wraps his fingers around it and jabs the nail up through the under part of his chin and into his mouth.
And so he's just bleeding out in the throat. And then the two just kind of yell at each other.
Yeah, he says some cryptic shit like, you can't die if you're already dead, or I can't kill you if you're already dead, and that really freaks out Arian.
And then he walks, and then Arian tries to shoot him and misses a lot. Mm-hmm. No, Iko tries to shoot Joey T and misses, and then that dude walks in and it's all over.
Yep.
But this 9-minute fight, Megan, between Joey T and Iko.
I love Joe's use of his forearms for blocking things. He gets shoved up against a steel beam at one point, and he actually manages to block his face getting hit by throwing his arm up there. So he's got some good moves.
Their shins and forearms are steel.
Oh, remember that one move in the beginning of the fight when Iko gets his leg either kicked or whacked, and he has to stop and rub it?
Yeah. someone who's a big fan of Dolph Lundgren's front kicks, it starts with the front kick. Oh gosh. Any other highlights on this before we get out of here?
I can't.
Final thoughts about this fight?
It's definitely one of the best.
It is. I mean, 9 minutes of them just wiping each other out. And I kind of love the different looks of each one. So, Joey T has the short sleeve Henley, all cut up, and he's looking like, he got run over a bus that carries glass, right?
Oh, yeah, well, considering everything that happened to him before they got here.
It was like shards of glass were on the ground and a bus hit him and ran over him while he rubbed on the shards of glass. And then
that's about right.
Iko is wearing an Only God Forgives suit looking like Ryan Gosling with really well coiffed hair.
Very nice red tie. It stands out on his all black suit.
Then he gets choked with it.
But it's a 3-piece suit too, because at one point he takes off the jacket and he still has on a vest and a shirt. I have a question for you. Are you happy about how the fight ends?
I didn't want either one of them killing each other. I know.
I remember that the first time we saw it. I was so stressed out because we love both of them. And it's such a good fight. But you don't want anybody to die by each other's hands.
This isn't some Fast and the Furious BS where they couldn't beat each other, right? You know what I mean? I can't lose a fight. It's in my contract. This was, they fought each other to a standstill. They just went their separate ways. Because he did say, I crossed the ocean for you. This was Iko was telling Joey T, I crossed the ocean here. This is your fault. We were doing great. All of our friends are dead because you didn't kill this one kid. You killed 18 other kids. But then you see this other kid and you don't kill it, and then all of our people die.
It was funny. One of the articles did make a point about how he didn't hesitate to help murder the whole village, and there were probably other children there. But the one kid at the end, he just wouldn't kill.
Yeah.
Not to say that they haven't done this many times beforehand. He just all of a sudden has a pang of humanity.
Yeah, enough of it. He was just tired. And you think that what makes him dangerous is he's done all the killing, but he's also done with it? Man, what a good movie. So this was good. Perfect first episode. I just want to give one recommendation out. In Fast and Furious 6, our homeboy, Joe Taslim, is in it. And he has a wonderful fight scene against Sung Kang and Tyrese, where he beats the living tar, snot, blood, mud, beer, goop, and squish out of them. He destroys poor Sung Kang and Tyrese. And it's a glorious fight scene.
I expect nothing less.
All right. So this was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me and letting me demand this movie.
So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Megan Hoffmeyer, this is Final Fights by Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.